Good morning and welcome to Take 10 for this week. A few weeks back, I was asked by a friend what my faith said to me about this pandemic. Where is God in this current season? At the same time, I had read an article in the Friends International Insight magazine. And it began with this sentence: suffering is a part of human life. We kind of know that to be true, don't we? Because of our own experiences, but we really don't want it to be true. In reality, what we want is answers, alternatives, solutions. Faith leaders and philosophers throughout the ages have tried to answer the question of suffering. And Jenny Brown's article lists such things as it's part of evolution, it's about the survival of the fittest, or it's fate. Quite simply, what will be, will be. That it's an eternal battle between good and evil. That it is simply a means to an end. It is the route to salvation. How do I, as a Christian, approach this issue of suffering? What is it about my faith, my beliefs as a Christian, that enable me to stand face to face with suffering? Firstly, this. My belief is that humankind was not created with suffering in mind. That is really important to understand. We were created for relationship and intimacy with a creator God. Secondly, in Genesis chapter 3, it tells us that sin entered the world in the form of temptation and disobedience. That act broke 3 relationships. It broke our relationship, man's relationship with God. It broke man's relationship with nature, and it broke man's relationship with his fellow man. And consequently, we live in a fallen world, in a world in which suffering is indeed part of life. However, my belief also tells me that Jesus took human suffering upon himself. Through his life, death, and resurrection, we can know hope. God is able to work through suffering to draw us to himself and enable us to experience his presence in profound ways, even in the midst of suffering. For me, my approach to suffering is not so much a matter of why as what. What is God saying to me in the midst of this situation, whatever it may be? What is he teaching me? In what ways is he calling me to be a better person? Jenny Brown uses the analogy of a butterfly pushing its way out of a chrysalis. It is necessary for it to engage in the struggle in order to emerge in the beauty and maturity for which God intended it. I have shed many, many tears over the past 12 months. I have mourned and lamented. On occasion, I have felt that God was silent. But my faith has not waned. I have held on to what I know of God's character, God's word, and God's promises. In Psalm 56, verse 8, it says this: "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." Suffering is not punishment or penalty. If we will allow it, it is an invitation to enter into relationship with the one who created us. Like the butterfly, it is an invitation to struggle in order to emerge in the beauty and maturity we would otherwise not know. Be sure of this. God sees, God knows, and he offers us a hope for the future. Thanks for joining me.